Hello, Gentle Explainer here. Today I am going to gently explain a horror action movie called Rust Creek. This story is about a promising college student who embarks on a road trip relying on her mobile GPS for the most important interview of her life. But who knew that this GPS would lead her into a dense forest where a strange silence pervaded all around? Just then, two strangers arrive, initially pretending to help, but upon seeing a beautiful girl alone in the forest, their intentions turn sour. Will the girl be able to escape the clutches of these predators, or will the silence of this forest swallow her forever? We'll find out in today's story. The story begins with a beautiful girl named Sawyer Scott running on her college track field. Then she receives a voicemail informing her that she has been selected for the job at the company she applied for and must arrive in Washington, D.C. the day after. She is overjoyed. Having been waiting for this opportunity for so long, she immediately goes to her hostel, packs her travel essentials, and sets off for Washington the next day. To find her way, she turns on her phone's GPS, and the radio reports traffic jams on the main highway. Hearing this, she decides to take the village route and gradually finds herself in an unfamiliar area. After traveling some distance, she stops at a dead-end road that leads to the edge of a forest. The GPS advises her to turn back. However, she tries to find a new route by going in a different direction. However, the route is through a deserted wooded area with no houses nearby. Then, she stops the car at a spot because she can't trust the GPS. Just then, we see two men digging nearby who, upon seeing the car, become frightened, thinking they might have been spotted. But Sawyer doesn't see them, so she turns the car around and takes another route. Then, she stops at a spot and pulls out a paper map. Just then, two men, Hollister and Buck, appear in a car, and they are brothers. Sawyer explains that she's lost her way. Hollister takes her map and shows her the way to the highway. Sawyer feels a little awkward because she's alone, but just as she's about to leave, Hollister starts acting strangely and says, "It'll be dark in a while, and you won't be able to reach the highway. So, why don't you come with us to dinner tonight?" Sawyer refuses, but he begins to misbehave, so Sawyer frees his hand and kicks him in the face. Then, Buck begins to force himself on her, but she takes a knife from his pocket and injures him. Buck snatches it back and stabs him in the leg. Despite the injury, Sawyer somehow manages to escape and runs into the forest. Now both brothers start chasing her, but after running a long distance, Sawyer hides behind a rock and ties a sweater over her wound. Just when they get close, Sawyer throws a stone in the other direction. Hearing the sound, they both run away. After this, she comes out and, injured, continues walking towards a river. There, she drinks water and quenches her thirst, but going back to the car could be dangerous, and it was getting dark. So she goes back to the same rock and, exhausted, falls asleep there. The next morning, a sheriff named Doyle at the local police station receives information about a car abandoned on the roadside. Doyle sends his junior officer, Nick, to investigate. Nick immediately arrives, and after examining the car, he finds blood on the ground, which makes him realize something is wrong. A short while later, he arrives at Hollister and Buck's house and inquires about the car. Hollister claims he doesn't know anything about it. However, Nick notices that both of them are injured, and they pretend they were injured while hunting. Hearing this, Nick returns. On the other side, we see Sawyer limping to the river to clean her wound, but she's in immense pain and barely able to walk, so she bandages the wound to stop the bleeding. She then thinks that her car is on the side of the road and someone will surely see it and help her. But just then, the two brothers take her car and throw it down the slope. Sawyer immediately hides and listens to their conversation. Hollister says, "Now the police won't suspect us, but we must find and kill that girl quickly, or else we'll be in trouble." The two then begin searching for her everywhere, and as they leave, Sawyer goes to the car and picks up her broken phone. However, there's no network in the area, and she tries desperately to find it. But after a while, the phone dies due to the battery running out. She begins to cry because she sees no way to escape, and Hollister and Buck are also searching for her. It's getting dark, and Sawyer, still injured, suddenly collapses while walking. Then, through blurred vision, she sees a man coming toward her, but before she can ask anything, she faints. The next morning, when she wakes up, she finds herself inside a trailer, her wounds bandaged. She tries to get out, but all the doors are locked. The place looked like a lab. Just then, a boy named Lowell, who had saved her, arrives. She stops him from approaching her, then throws some chemicals in his face and then tries to run away, but she faints again, feeling dizzy. Meanwhile, Nick arrives at the police station and tells Doyle that this case is very serious and that he thinks Hollister and Buck might have done something. But Doyle dismisses the matter lightly, saying those two brothers may be crooks, but they're not criminals. And don't worry, we'll find out something soon. Meanwhile, Sawyer regains consciousness, but this time her hands are tied. Lowell gives her bread and water, saying, "Eat this first, then we'll talk." Sawyer does so, then says, "I have to go to the hospital. I was going to Washington, D.C., but because of my GPS, I got stuck in this wooded area." Just then, a car stops outside, and Sawyer screams for help. Lowell covers her mouth and explains, "They'll kill you as soon as they see you, so please stay calm." He then comes out and meets Hollister and Buck. Through their conversation, they learn that Lowell is their cousin and works with them to manufacture drugs. They ask if they've seen a girl with an injured leg, but Lowell denies it. Meanwhile, Sawyer tries to burn the rope inside with some chemicals. Buck and Hollister become suspicious of why Lowell didn't call them in today and go in themselves, but they don't find Sawyer, as she had broken free and escaped through the back door. Sawyer wanders into the woods again, but Lowell catches her and brings her back to the trailer. Meanwhile, at the police station, their superior officer, Michael, arrives and is furious with Doyle's negligence. Nick then reveals that a case has been registered regarding the car, and it's been revealed that a couple had given it to their daughter, Sawyer, and that Sawyer has been missing for a few days. Hearing this, Michael immediately orders that the case be given top priority and that the girl be found as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Lowell tells Sawyer, "You're very brave. You broke the rope and ran away before they could see you." Sawyer pleads, "Please let me go. I promise I won't tell anyone about your actions." But Lowell explains clearly that you're 5 miles from the main road and about 20 miles from the city. If you leave on foot, those two brothers will catch you again. But Sawyer still doesn't believe him, so Lowell unties her rope and tells her that they're going to another city in 3 days. After that, "I'll take their car and drop you off somewhere safe. But before that, you can leave if you want." Meanwhile, Doyle approaches the two brothers and angrily declares that the missing girl's report has reached the state police. "Tell me the truth. What did you two do to her?" From their conversation, we learn that these three are involved in drug trafficking. Hollister explains, "We thought the girl saw us burying the body, so we had to attack. And you were the one who told us to bury the body. This means that these three are committing crimes together." He then assures Doyle that the girl is probably dead, so don't worry. Tomorrow, we'll go find her body. The next morning, Lowell is working when Sawyer asks, "How do you make these drugs?" He demonstrates, showing a thermal mug saying, "It contains anhydrous ammonia, the most important chemical for drugs, but it's extremely dangerous. If it is heated carelessly, it could explode." Meanwhile, Sawyer steals a screwdriver. Lowell then tells her they're coming soon, so you should hide. A little while later, the brothers bring some supplies, leave them inside, and quickly leave because Lowell had deliberately filled the trailer with gas. Meanwhile, Nick is busy investigating the case. Doyle tells him it's Thanksgiving, so he should go home and be with his family. He was actually trying to get him off the case, and Nick agrees and leaves. But when he goes back to get the keys, he hears Doyle telling Hollister to find and kill her quickly, otherwise they'll all be trapped. Nick realizes that Doyle is orchestrating everything. Doyle tries to explain, but Nick points a gun at him and tells him to stay put, then starts walking away. Doyle requests, "Don't tell anyone, I'll explain everything to you." But Nick refuses, and before he can even reach the car, Doyle emerges and shoots him at the first opportunity. He then gives Buck and Hollister the body to dispose of in the evening, and also asks about Sawyer, asking what happened to her. Hollister gives him Sawyer's wallet, which was found in his car. The next day, Michael, enraged, confronts Doyle, asking why the girl hasn't been found yet. Doyle says, "Nick has been missing since yesterday, and I don't know what to do." Michael says, "Now my team will search for her, and the girl's parents are coming." Hearing this, Doyle's anxiety increases. To complicate the case, he opens Nick's locker and takes out Sawyer's wallet. Michael is shocked and immediately orders his team. Nick may be involved in the missing girl's case, so start searching for him. Later that afternoon, Doyle goes to Lowell's to check on the drugs, but Lowell refuses to let him in and, pointing a short gun at him, tells him to leave. Sawyer, hiding inside the trailer, has been listening in. Doyle says, "I'm the chief of this area, and you're just a simple Indian." Lowell doesn't care and stands there with his gun pointed. Doyle, too, doesn't want to create any trouble, so he leaves. After entering, when Sawyer asks, Lowell tells her that he was his boss, but a short while later, Hollister and Buck arrive, and Lowell comes out and hands over the goods. Hollister notices 2 distinct footprints on the stairs. This makes him suspicious, but the 2 brothers leave without saying anything. Lowell comes in and tells Sawyer that they'll be staying here until evening. Then I'll drop you off at the state police station, and I also want to get out of here and start a new life. By now, Sawyer has completely trusted him and returns the screwdriver, but Lowell insists he keep it with him for safety. Suddenly, Buck and Hollister burst in, and upon seeing Sawyer, their suspicion turns to certainty. Hollister angrily points his gun at her and says, "You betrayed us." But Lowell makes a move to calm the situation and asks them to sit down and talk. Then he asks Sawyer to make him coffee. Sawyer agrees. Now, Lowell puts on a show in front of them, saying, "I've trained her well and drugged her into an addict, so she'll obey everything I say." Meanwhile, Sawyer secretly takes out anhydrous ammonia and begins heating it in the microwave, while Lowell keeps them engaged in conversation. Buck senses something's wrong with the microwave, and as she goes to check, a massive explosion occurs, killing Buck instantly. Sawyer and Lowell escape. Lowell is so badly injured that he can't even stand. Sawyer asks him to come with her, but he tells her the way and tells her to run away. As Sawyer starts to run, Hollister, half dead, emerges and shoots her. Lowell stops him, and a fight ensues. Both are injured. Lowell manages to take the gun and is about to kill him. Just then, Doyle arrives and shoots Lowell. Hollister, now thinking Doyle will save him, is now on the loose, but he shoots him dead too. They spot Sawyer, who, after running for a long time, reaches the main road and breathes a sigh of relief when she sees a police car. But in the car is Doyle, whom she doesn't recognize, and she explains everything, how 2 boys attacked her, and then Lowell saved her life. She then asks, "Won't you call a backup team to save Lowell?" Doyle says, "Don't worry, I'm the chief of this area, and he's an Indian. He'll be rescued soon." Hearing this, Sawyer understands that she heard this line outside the trailer, meaning, this man is their boss. After driving some distance, Doyle stops the car and says, "We'll have to walk the rest of the way." Sawyer understood everything, but out of fear, she quietly agrees, after which he takes her to the riverbank. Sawyer pleads, "Please don't do this," but he doesn't listen. As soon as they enter the river, he grabs her hair and begins to drown her. Sawyer begins to suffocate and tries with all her might to escape, but then she takes out the same screwdriver and attacks him, ultimately stabbing him in the chest, killing him instantly. After this, Sawyer manages to escape and reach the road, and just then, the police team arrives. But Sawyer has lost faith in the police and walks away without even glancing at them. And with that, the story ends. I hope you liked this movie explain video. If you want to see more similar movie explain videos, then you can watch this video by clicking here. Now I go and see you in the next video.